We are pleased to announce I Am Walt Disney, the 18th picture book in the New York Times bestselling Ordinary People Change the World series of biographies about heroes. This book by bestselling author Brad Meltzer tells the story of Walt Disney. Each book in the series tells the story of one of America's icons in a lively, conversational way that works well for the youngest nonfiction readers and that always includes the hero's childhood influences. This volume features Walt Disney, who made dreams come true for himself and the countless kids around the world. Available wherever fine books are sold. Pre-order your copy today.
Enchanted Tiki Talk is brought to you by Kingdom Strollers. Our premium stroller and crib rentals are delivered straight to your Disney or Orlando area resort. It couldn't be easier. Book yours at kingdomstrollers.com. And Mouse Pros. Let our travel specialist plan your next vacation. Our concierge level service gives you the perfect hassle-free vacation. Get your free quote from Sean or any of our magical agents at mousepros.com. And now, it's show time!
Your attention, please. One show for you to see. One for you and everyone.
Oh, look at all the people. Pay attention, it's showtime.
I am always ready, as you say, to put on the show.
My goodness, you're all staring at us. We better start the show rolling.
Wait! We forgot to wake up the Glee Club.
Aloha. Come to the Tiki Room. Get your expialidocious tickets right here.
Hello everybody and welcome to Enchanted Tiki Talk. This is Sean, your host here for this week's episode of the show. I have to apologize. I decided, I'll get into it a little bit later on in the episode, but both Keith and Matt are not here tonight. I canceled on them sort of last minute because I wasn't feeling great and I fell asleep, and then when I woke up I'm like, hey, I feel like recording a show to make sure I get it out. I was going to put out a show yesterday, but it didn't work out because I fell asleep extremely early because we ended up driving back from Florida. And once again, more about that later on. But Steve will be back with us to give us some news, so I'm glad to see he's back. At least somebody from the Tiki Hut is back, and I'm back as well. So why don't we take a little break here? I'll throw it over to Steve to let him give us the news, and then I will get into this week's shortened episode.
Hi all. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on, and we've been through a lot. All the major announcements at D23, the start of the Halloween season at Disney World, the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios, and a brush with a hurricane. So let's get started with the latest news. The Epcot International Festival of the Arts will be returning to Walt Disney World for almost 6 weeks in 2020. The festival will take place January 17th through February 24th, and will again include the Disney on Broadway concert series nightly at the American Gardens Theater. Hurricane Dorian sideswiped Disney World, but the deadly storm caused catastrophic damage in the Bahamas, pounded the Florida coast, and is causing damage now in the Carolinas. The Walt Disney Company has committed more than $1 million in cash and in-kind support to help relief and recovery efforts for those in the Bahamas. The Disney World theme parks closed for half a day due to the storm, and something else took place. A baby eland was born in the aftermath of the storm at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Its name? Doppler. There are about a dozen major changes taking place at Disney World this September, including the start of the Disney Skyliner on September 29th, the end of a 20-year run of Illuminations on September 30th at Epcot, and the closing of most of the front of Epcot early next week as the park undergoes some major renovation and change. And let's talk about that change for a moment. Nearly 30 changes to Disney parks around the world were announced at the D23 Expo. Some of the highlights for Disney World? Well, they include previews for the new Cirque du Soleil show at Disney Springs beginning March 20th, 2020, leading up to the world premiere on April 17th. Epcot's transformation means the theme park will be divided into 4 neighborhoods. The World Showcase will continue to celebrate the culture, cuisine, and architecture from around the world. Future World will be divided into 3 areas: World Nature, World Discovery, and World Celebration. Spaceship Earth is getting an overhaul with new scenes reflecting the universal nature of the human experience. A new guide and narration will focus on the storytelling that brings people together. The previously announced Festival Pavilion, well, we found out more about this. It'll be a 3-level structure promising stunning views of the World Showcase and an ideal spot to witness the park's nighttime spectacular. There will be a new statue of Walt Disney celebrating the legacy as a dreamer. The Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster now has a name, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. The coaster will launch guests in reverse. The new space-themed restaurant called Space 220 is now scheduled to open this winter, whatever winter means. There will be a new Moana attraction coming to Epcot, Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, which will let guests interact with magical living water in a beautiful and inspiring setting, we're told. The UK Pavilion is getting a completely new neighborhood, Cherry Tree Lane, which will include the first attraction inspired by Mary Poppins. The Star Wars Hotel over at Hollywood Studios has a new name, Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, and a few more intriguing details. Like a cruise ship, guests will check in for a 2-night adventure. Once aboard the ship, which is called the Halcyon, guests will interact with characters and become active participants in stories that unfold around them on their galactic journey. And the Walt Disney Resort is going to get a new planning app called the Disney Genie. Scheduled to debut in late 2020, the app will allow you to create customized itineraries and is even supposed to help change itineraries on the go, like if there's delays, kind of like a Disney World Waze app. And those are just a few of the highlights. Finally, have you heard? Star Wars Galaxy's Edge finally opened at Disney World.
We've been looking for that Wookiee and a Resistance spy. Stand down.
Well, whoa, my friends. This is clearly a misunderstanding.
Hey, you guys looking for me?
It's the spy we've been tracking. She has the location of the Resistance base.
Hey, you're slower than usual.
These Resistance traitors know how to blend in. Get her.
Please visit us at DisneyDiary.com for the latest news. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Disney Diary. Now, back to the Tiki Hut.
All right, I am back from break now, and I want to thank Steve again for the news. Check out DisneyDiary.com for all your Disney news needs. So this week, I wanted to spend some time talking about Hurricane Dorian and a little bit of my experiences, which wasn't too bad at all. I did go on the Disney Fantasy on August 24th for a week-long cruise, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the cruise or really things thereafter. I'm just going to focus on a little bit on Hurricane Dorian. So we went on the Disney Fantasy, like I said, on August 24th. Hopefully we can talk about the cruise on a future episode. And so that was on a Saturday. So then around Sunday, I guess a little bit before 6 o'clock Sunday night, the captain had come on and said that because of Tropical Storm Dorian at the time, they were going to alter course. And that was, we were planning to go to, not Cozumel, I'm sorry. We were planning to go to Tortola and St. Thomas on Tuesday and Wednesday of that trip. So the captain came on and said because of the storm was in the direct path of that they were going to reroute us. So we ended up going to Grand Cayman and Cozumel. So we ended up going below Cuba, which was really cool. I don't think I ever realized just how big Cuba was, and it's a really large island. And we were about 20 miles off the coast of Cuba, so that's like the closest I've ever been to Cuba, probably the closest I ever will be going to Cuba. I would love to have gone there. I mean, if Disney would have said we're going to Cuba, I would have just, been crying of excitement to experience that. But they moved us over to the Western Caribbean route, not stopping in Jamaica, which is usually the route that they will go. They just gave us the 2 islands, so I guess that's the cost that's factored in there. So we ended up at Grand Cayman on Tuesday, but I believe on Monday, the announcement on Sunday, and then they said Monday morning at 8 a.m. you would be able to book your excursions, and then any other excursions that you had planned before would be put back onto your account. So the plan for us was in St. Thomas to just go ahead to the beach there, but in Tortola we were going to do an excursion. I think we were going to go snorkeling on a beach. So I was a little worried when it came to Cozumel that I wanted to pick something. I was with a group of 11 people, so it wasn't small at all. So we did end up going to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law happened to be down at the excursion area, and I happened to walk down like the perfect moment when they were picking their excursions for their kids and their family. So we ended up doing a beach thing over in Cozumel, which they put you on a bus and they moved you over to hang out on a beach, and included food and alcohol, and I'll probably get into that a little bit more, but yeah, we went to Grand Cayman, and then on Tuesday was Grand Cayman, and Wednesday was Cozumel, and Thursday night the captain came on again. We were a little bit worried that he might have said that they weren't going to go to Castaway Cay or something along those lines, because we didn't know where the storm was at that time, but they let us know that it was a hurricane at that point. We were still going to Castaway Cay, that they were going to try to get us in earlier and try to leave a little bit earlier from there. So we ended up getting to Castaway Cay, I think around 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, something along those lines. You're allowed to disembark at 10, and then we ended up leaving at 4:30. So during that whole time, they didn't really keep you up to date on the storm's progress. You really had to rely on people back home to get your information, which wasn't a big deal. I mean, being on a Disney cruise, iMessage does work, so I was messaging with people without having to pay for it, using iMessage on my iPhone. So that was good. But with that, I had found out, I believe it was Thursday, or no, it was Friday, that we were flying Spirit home, and originally we were supposed to fly home Monday night, and I found out that MCO had canceled all flights on Monday. So I was a little worried, and we got nervous that we weren't going to be able to get out of there. So Spirit actually ended up canceling all flights on Sunday and Monday because of the storm, because of the path that it was going for. It was directly heading for the Florida, central Florida, basically, by Cape Canaveral at that point. And so I had contacted Spirit to try to move our flight out on Saturday, and they would only be able to get 3 of the 5 people that were flying home on Monday, because my kids, my wife, and my mother-in-law were with us and staying in Disney for a few days. So I wasn't able to move us at that point, but we did get moved to Tuesday afternoon flight, coming home at like 2:30. So, I mean, my wife was freaking out a bit from the storm, and she was getting information from people that we needed to get out of Florida, and I wasn't worried as much because I knew Disney was probably the safest place to be. So Saturday we got off the ship, and we headed to the Polynesian resort where we were staying for a couple days. Weather was perfect. Even on the cruise, I think we only had 5 minutes of rain the whole time. Weather in Disney was great. So Saturday, Sunday, we're in the parks enjoying things and keeping the track of the storm. And, we found out that, I guess MCO reopened on Monday, but Spirit still wasn't flying flights out because they had to move their cruise elsewhere, because they weren't able to put them back, because they had new schedules set up for people to go here and there. So they said our flight was still good for Monday. So I guess Monday around 4:45, we went back to the room after swimming at the Polynesian resort, and we found out that I go onto my phone, and I found out that MCO was going to be closed on Tuesday because of the hurricane. So I contacted Spirit to find out what we could do. We can get out at any other airport, and that wasn't going to happen. And I asked for them. They said to me, well, we can get you on a flight on 8 p.m. on Wednesday. And I said, I don't know about that. I don't think that's a really good idea, seeing my wife. My wife wanted us to drive. She wanted to leave on Saturday, and then she wanted to leave on Sunday. And then once the flight was canceled for Tuesday, she was like, we just got to get out of here. And at that point, we got a refund from Spirit. I rented us a minivan, and my wife, kids, and mother-in-law went out to Captain Cook's to eat at the Polynesian. And I went and picked up the minivan, came back, we started packing the car up, and I guess around 6 o'clock or so, 6:30 or so, we finished that up. And I wanted to go to studios and check out Star Wars' Galaxy's Edge before heading home. And also because I wanted the kids to be exhausted and sleep in the car ride the whole time. So we did that. We went to studios, wore them out a little bit, and after that we stopped at Walmart so we could get some supplies, some snacks for the car ride, because we didn't have anything like that. We were prepared. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to find water, but there's plenty of water around. We got some pillows for people to sleep in the car, and we took off around 10:30 and just drove all night. And driving up 95, I got to South Carolina, and we were cutting over Interstate 26 there to go up through Route 77 and 81, because I didn't want to go through Richmond, DC, and that area, because I knew it was a longer drive going out 81, but I knew that if we stayed on the on 95, we were going to hit a lot more traffic, and the time would have been equaled out. Plus, it was also cheaper in the long run for us to go that way. So, yep, that's exactly what we did. We went west, but on 26, I started seeing signs that 26 was closed and said proceed on I-94 north. I was like, oh my gosh, because they were South Carolina was preparing for Hurricane Dorian, so the Route 26 going eastbound was shut down so they can move cars westbound. So we got onto the westbound lane. Luckily, it was open, and I was able to take that highway up through North Carolina. So we ended up stopping for breakfast at one point. We stopped a few times for gas, and we got home, I'm going to say about 5 p.m. on Tuesday, which was earlier than our flight was going to be Tuesday at 2:30. So we would have landed, like 5:15 or something like that, and then another hour and a half or so before we got home. So we got home earlier than we had expected. So I happened to look on the Spirit Airlines app, and I saw that our flight for Wednesday was canceled now, because that's where the storm was going to be a little bit further north. So it's a good thing that we drove, because there's no way we would have gotten home on Wednesday, and chances are Thursday, everybody who had canceled flights were going to try to get out on Thursday. So, I mean, that's a good thing that we did that. But while we were in Disney World, they did make the announcement on Monday that they were going to be closing the parks early on Tuesday at 3 o'clock to prepare for the storm. And that I think Springs was going to be open until 8 o'clock or something like that. But, my wife was like, oh, even if we stuck around, and you can only go to the park for a few hours, and then you're going to be stuck at the resort not knowing what's going to happen wind-wise. You don't want the kids hanging out in the room. So, we decided to go. But not a bad experience coming from the hurricane for us, not like the people from the Bahamas. I feel awful for them, because we had met a lady who works on Castaway Cay, and she lives on the island I think it's Abacos, that got hit really hard. So, I just feel awful, and for them to have to go through that. So I'm hoping that they didn't take the brunt of it at where she lives. She just said that she lives in a small fishing village, and the men there are fish, and the women don't really work. So luckily she had the job to work at Castaway Cay to support her family. So my thoughts and prayers go out to her and her family. We felt totally safe on the cruise during the hurricane, and beautiful waters. They made us feel welcome, and I know that I think the Dream got their cruise extended a couple days, because they went out Saturday or Sunday, and it's supposed to be like a 3 or 4 day cruise, and it was extended another 2 days. So things happen. I was totally prepared that they were going to say that we're either not going to Castaway Cay, or that they were going to send us to Tampa and bus us, or we might get extended or something along those lines, which we all would have been fine with. It's okay. There's more important things in the world. But same thing with flying home. In the back of our mind, we always knew at some point in September, of so many trips that we've done in September, that at one point we were going to have a hurricane come through, and this seemed like this was the one time, and our backup plan was always to drive. So there it is. I just want to tell you a little bit about our experience with Hurricane Dorian. So that's pretty much going to be it. I'm not going to give the whole spiel today, because I'm really tired. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Check out Disney Diary. Visit Matt Goes Dopey on Twitter, and Keith at Dole Whip Daily. And everybody out there, have a magical day.